Good morning. It's Friday, February 27th, the last day before we take a week off. I know a few as senators in this room are very sad that we're taking a week off, but I'm not one of those. So, we've had a very productive week. We're 1 week over from crossover. The Ag Committee has been very, very busy. Very proud of some of the legislation that we're putting out. We're going to spend some time this morning on the Equine Industry Advocacy Group. They have asked for a half hour. We have that half hour. I will also say, I'll listen to the testimony, but I might have some suggestions about another time that the people that are going to testify today might want to pop in. But with that, who would like to lead off?
Yeah, I think we had,
Alyssa. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair Ingalls. I'm well. How are you?
Good. Thank you for coming in this morning. Just tell us who you are, where you're from, and the floor is yours, Alyssa.
Absolutely. Well, good morning, Chair Ingalls and members committee. My name is Alyssa Price, and I was raised here in Vermont. I attended primary school and high school here, and this is my home. Horses have been part of my life for as long as I can remember. Growing up in Vermont, I learned responsibility, work ethic, and commitment through caring for animals and being part of the agricultural community that defines so much of our rural character. I would get off the local school bus at a horse farm, and it was run by another lifelong Vermonter, and I would work and ride there until my mom would pick me up in the evenings. Unfortunately, that barn is no longer in business. It was sold as a second home, and now the horse portion of the property sits empty. The barn owner couldn't make it work financially, unfortunately. When it came time for college, I left Vermont to pursue a specialized education in equine studies at Centenary University in New Jersey. And that is where I earned a Bachelor's of Science in Equine Instruction and Training. While there, I competed, trained, and worked in professional equine facilities. I experienced firsthand what a strong, recognized equine industry looks like, one that is understood as agriculture, supported as agriculture, and treated as agriculture. After graduation, I could have easily stayed in New Jersey. There were more established barns, more dense horse populations, more shows, and certainly more immediate job opportunities. But I didn't want to build my life there. I wanted to come home. I wanted to live in Vermont. I wanted to work in Vermont. And one day I truly hope to raise my family in Vermont. So instead of staying where the industry was significantly easier, I chose to return here and invest in this state. During my senior year in college, our family found a former horse property in West Halifax, Vermont. It had potential, but it required a significant rehabilitation. Fencing needed rebuilding, the indoor arena infrastructure had to be replaced, a new footing had to be installed, water systems and electrical infrastructure needed major repair. The inspector's list of over 150 pages of repairs was daunting. And these were not cosmetic upgrades. They were essential agricultural infrastructure investments necessary for safe professional operations. And over the past year, we have invested substantial time, labor, and capital into restoring the facility and reopening it as a working equine operation. And today, 100% of my income comes from lessons, boarding, training, and shows. And this is not a hobby for me. This is recreational land use, and this is my agricultural business. And like any other livestock operation, our expenses are real and ongoing. We purchase hay from local farmers. We buy grain and bedding from local suppliers. We rely on Vermont-based veterinarians and farriers. We maintain fencing, equipment, tractors, water systems, and pasture land. We manage manure and steward the open fields as well. Every horse that's boarded at our facility represents reoccurring economic activity that supports other Vermont agricultural businesses. In economic terms, equine operations generate multiplier effects in rural communities. Feed suppliers, hay producer, tradespeople, and service providers all benefit from a stable equine sector. Yet, despite operating as a livestock agricultural, horse facilities are not taxed consistently with other agricultural farms. Property taxes are one of our highest fixed costs as of right now. They do not adjust for weather, fluctuating hay prices, or seasonal revenue. They are due regardless of business cycles. And in the northern climate with long winters, high feed costs, and narrow margins, the property tax structure can determine whether a farm survives or closes its barn doors forever. Some might say raise your boarding rates, but it's not that simple. Many of my clients are young riders and working families. They make sacrifices to even afford participation, and some offset costs by helping with chores and barn work. And if we raise rates beyond what our regional market can bear, horses leave. Enrollment declines, revenue drops. The burden cannot simply be passed on without consequence. Vermont has clearly articulated its goals to protect agriculture, to preserve open land, to strengthen rural economies, and to retain young Vermonters. Equine agriculture advances every one of those goals. We preserve open acreage and pasture land that might otherwise be subdivided or developed. We support hay production and agricultural supply chains. We provide youth with hands-on exposure to farm life, responsibility, and animal care. And in my case, we represent a young Vermonter choosing to come home and build a business here. If the tax structure makes operations like mine unsustainable, the outcome is predictable. Small barns will close, open land is sold, and young professionals relocate to states with more supportive agricultural policies, such as New Jersey. Now, I could have stayed in New Jersey, but economically, that would have been easier. But I chose Vermont because this is where I want to build my future. However, commitment alone does not make a business viable. Policy matters. When equine operations are treated differently from other livestock farms for tax purposes, it sends a message, whether intentional or not, that horses are recreation rather than agriculture. But from a management, land use, and economic perspective, the daily work is identical to other forms of livestock farming. We are not asking for special treatment. We are asking for equitable recognition under agricultural tax policy. If Vermont truly wants to protect working lands, support rural enterprises, and retain young residents like myself, then tax policy must align with those stated priorities. I am committed to building a sustainable equine boarding and training facility here in Vermont. I want to grow it responsibly. I want to reinvest in infrastructure. I want to contribute to my local economy. And one day, I want to raise my children on the same kind of working land that shaped me. But that future depends on whether small agricultural operations like mine are given a fair and sustainable framework in which to operate. I came home because I believe in Vermont. I'm asking you to make it possible for me to stay, and I really appreciate all of your time and consideration in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. We've been asked to wait to ask questions until after everybody's testified, so we'll be back to see you in a moment. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Who's next?
Hello,
Good morning.
Chair Ingalls and members of the committee. My name is Mindy Hinsdale. I'm a seventh generation Vermonter. I grew up in Charlotte, attended CVU, and graduated from UVM. I owned and operated Steeple Ridge Farm, first in Ferrisburgh and then in Charlotte for 35 years. I was a full-time working farmer. I sold my farm 9 years ago due to rising costs and now operate a small business. I serve as Vice President of the Chittenden County Farm Bureau, Secretary of the Green Mountain Horse Association Board, and I'm active in other agricultural organizations. I am now partnering with Heidi Krantz to establish the Vermont Equine Industry Advocacy Group. What are we proposing? We are requesting an update to the income eligibility definition for equine farm businesses, so qualified horse farms are classified as farms and owners as farmers under agricultural statutes. Current statute limits qualifying income largely to breeding. Modern equine farm businesses rely on multiple livestock-based income streams generated on farms. These include boarding, training, breeding, lessons, leasing, trail rides, and summer camps. These are agricultural activities centered on the care and management of horses as livestock. As with all other farmers, equine operators would still need to earn 50% or more of gross income from on-farm agricultural activity to qualify for programs such as current use and disaster relief. This proposal updates definitions without altering acreage thresholds or program structure. Consistency. Equine farms already meet required agricultural practices and environmental standards. They are regulated as agriculture for water quality, land use, and operational oversight. However, under current statutory definitions, many are excluded from full participation in current use and disaster relief. This results in inconsistent treatment across agricultural statutes. Clarifying the definition allows these statutes with how equine farms are already regulated and operating. The proposal maintains existing standards and provides consistent application of law. Alignment. Agricultural programs are designed to keep working land in production and support farms facing operational risk. Professional equine farms steward pasture and hayland year after year and face the same weather and infrastructure risks as other livestock operations. Current use preserves productive agricultural land and reduces pressure toward development. Disaster relief supports recovery from flooding, drought, and severe weather. Equine farms experience these impacts directly, affecting livestock health, pastures, fencing, barns, and infrastructure. Updating the statutory definition ensures that property valuation policy and disaster support reflect the agricultural realities of these operations. Fiscal impact. This correction has a defined and limited impact on the education fund. It does not expand eligibility categories beyond qualified working farms, nor does it change acreage or structural requirements. Current use has always represented a deliberate balance in support of working land. This proposal applies that balance consistently to a group of farms already operating under agricultural regulation. Horse farms are working farms. Equine farms are livestock operations. They provide daily feeding, turnout, veterinary coordination, manure management, pasture rotation, fencing maintenance, and infrastructure upkeep. They comply with required agricultural practices and related oversight. Flooding, heat, mud season damage, and severe weather affect livestock health and farm infrastructure directly. Many equine farms operate on former dairy or livestock properties and continue to maintain those lands in agricultural use. Typical farm scale. Professional equine farms operate at a scale common within the state's agricultural landscape. Nearly half operate on fewer than 50 acres. More than 70% manage up to 180 acres, primarily pasture and hay. Smaller farms are especially vulnerable to property tax pressure and climate disruption. A single flood event on a 30 to 40 acre farm can eliminate a season's productivity. Clear eligibility standards allow predictable recovery and long-term stewardship. Economic ecosystem. The equine industry generates approximately $46 million in annual in-state expenditures and supports more than 650 jobs across veterinary services, farrier work, hay and grain production, farm labor, and related supply chains. Equine events generate an estimated $37 million in annual visitor spending. Weather disruption affects feed supply, veterinary access, event scheduling, and rural businesses connected to these farms. Disaster eligibility therefore supports both individual farms and the broader agricultural economy. Infrastructure. Equine farms rely on barns, fencing, manure systems, farm roads, and indoor arenas. In this climate, indoor arenas are essential for livestock safety and year-round operation. When core agricultural infrastructure is treated inconsistently, recovery slows and financial risk increases. Clear statutory language allows farms to plan investments and respond effectively to weather-related damage. Conclusion. This targeted update to the definition of farms and farmers ensures that qualified horse farms are fully recognized as agricultural operations under existing statutes. It applies established program standards consistently and supports a livestock-based industry contributing more than $80 million annually to the state's economy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
Hi, Chair Ingalls and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. I'm Katie Waterman. I am pretty much Alyssa's story 20 years later. I see a lot of her ideas that were mine when I was 23. But I am a lifelong Vermonter. I grew up in South Starksboro. I started working with horses at a young age, and actually fairly early on, I rode with Mindy Hinsdale, who is just testifying. I own and operate a business involving the training and care of between 18 and 25 horses at my farm in Ferrisburg, and I earn all of my income teaching, riding, and caring for horses. I purchased a 98.2 acre parcel that was leased to a dairy farmer, enrolled in current use, and enrolled in the land trust. I moved to Ferrisburg in 2012 with the dream of finally building my own farm. We constructed a 14-stall Morton barn and a 200 by 82-foot indoor riding arena. The arena was canvas over steel and lacked a foundation. I researched extensively to find something affordable, and it was sold to me as a non-taxable structure because it lacked a foundation, functioned much like a greenhouse, and could be dismantled and removed in a single day. We moved into the farm in December of 2015, and then we received the property bill, tax bill. Previously, we had been paying $3,500 per year with the land in current use and the house as our homestead. The new bill was approximately $14,000, with the farm appraised at $1.4 million. Every square foot of my buildings, including a hay storage shed, the barn, the huge indoor arena, was taxed at a commercial rate. We grieved the taxes and were able to reduce them somewhat. We demonstrated that no comparable equine farm enrolled in the land trust had sold for that amount. We explained that the indoor arena did not add significant market value, and that if I were to sell the property, I would actually dismantle and resell it. Even after that reduction, the tax bill increased from $3,500 to approximately $12,500 per year. And that increase was crippling. We move forward anyway. I have subsidized my equine boarding with training and lesson income, but I can no longer operate at that same level due to a severe labor shortage that has worsened since COVID. Horses require constant care. Feeding and turnout at my farm begin at 6:30 in the morning. Stalls must be cleaned, all the feed prepared, the aisles swept, and only then could I start riding and teaching. In the evening, horses are brought in from the field, stalls cleaned again, horses are fed, we have to clean all the tack, and then I have to maintain the facility. That does not even include mowing, pasture maintenance, fence repair, painting, plowing, and maintaining the 2 riding arenas. I've downsized to 17 horses with 2 very part-time employees and complete the remaining work myself. I actually just fed this morning, so I've been up since 5:30. I often work more than 60 hours a week. I am 44 years old with a school-aged child, and this level of labor is not sustainable. Over the past year, I have barely broken even, meaning I can pay my bills and my mortgage, but I haven't paid myself a salary. And I've been boarding 17 horses. I'd also like to add here that I afford my property taxes by renting half of my home to a permanent renter. And my husband pays for our health insurance because he works his job in construction. This is not only my story. It reflects what many in Vermont's equine industry are experiencing. I cannot continue to work at this level while absorbing this kind of a financial hit. In addition to property taxes, equine farms are often excluded from agricultural disaster relief and other assistance programs because our income streams do not fit neatly within existing definitions. When flooding, extreme weather, other emergencies affect our operations, we face the same risks and losses as other farms. We are not always treated the same when it comes to relief and recovery programs. Without horses, there's a lot less demand for hayland and cropland. There will be fewer opportunities for young people to engage in agriculture. I feel we are at a breaking point. If Vermont wants horses to remain part of our working landscape and agricultural economy, something has to change. And recognizing equine farm buildings appropriately under the current use framework and ensuring eligibility for agricultural disaster relief would be meaningful steps forward. It would acknowledge that we are working farmers committed to keeping land open and in agricultural use for the next generation. I personally would really like to remain in Vermont and raise my son here, but we are considering a move to North Carolina. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you for your time, everyone, and your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we get everybody on the screen? Can we see everyone, please? So, yeah,
While we're doing that, did Ferrisburg give you a reason why your taxes went up almost 4 times?
Because of my buildings that we put up. I mean, my indoor arena was considered a taxable structure, and it's 200 feet by 82 feet.
okay.
And I grieved it twice.
And they don't recognize that as an agricultural building because of being equine right now, correct?
Correct.
I'm just gonna say, I don't understand, I think I do understand why and where. I just don't understand in these days and times why we are still, why this hasn't been fixed. I'm just gonna be very honest about it. For people that are in this business and farming and putting their hands in the ground and getting them dirty and all of that, and I think a lot of this comes back just for generations of people believing that raising horses in a business setting isn't farming. I don't get it. I really don't. I'm gonna tell you that I don't know what we'll do this year, but I know this, that no matter what the election cycle looks like, there'll be people back in this committee that are aware of your situation, and we're gonna fix it. I'll make that commitment. It's bold, but I'll make that commitment. So
Thank-
that's all I can tell you. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't understand. But there's no argument knowing what we know, which is enough, in my opinion. Knowing what we know, I do not understand and cannot understand why you're being treated differently than, I mean, I look at it like this. We have people who are just signed up for current use that don't even farm, and they're getting the benefits of current use. So, you know, again, what's the timeline? It starts today.
Don't move.
Okay.
We'll fix it.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yep,
Yeah,
sure.
the one thing that I would add to piggyback on Senator Ingalls and Collmore, obviously it's too late in the game this year in this biennium. So I would say as soon as we start up next year, send information and letters to the agriculture committee, and then we'll begin working on a bill to try to get this fixed. But it's the old saying, squeaky wheel gets the oil, so that's very important in doing that. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'll have to say that Mindy was in here last year pressing this,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to feel it fell a little bit on that year. So we made that commitment, and I hope that we follow through.
We will. We'll follow through. We'll even see what we have some other current use things going on. A week that we get back. We're off next week, but we're back on Tuesday, and I have some other current use following through the holes of some current use stuff on the farming side. And this discussion will come up again then. You're more than welcome to join us. It is not going to be the focus of what our meeting is, but there will be questions asked of people that are in the room that administer current use, and we will continue with the discussion then. Okay, well, I want to thank you. And we'll be chatting.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Brad needs to join.
yeah, he's here. He's in the room. Thank you, Meg.
Thank you.
Brad, come on up.
Great.
Just give me a minute. I want to go get my computer. I'll be right back. Got mail. Uh, Which is,
My excavator price. And,
how the closing go?
good, it's good, we got it quickly. Basically, get it right at the office.
Good. Sorry for the delay. We are gonna move on to S60 conversation. We have Attorney Showman in. And we'll do a big, what are we talking about?
That's 3.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna do the 323? Okay, yeah, that's right. We're gonna do the section 10, right? Is that what we're talking about now?
No, section 10, Ellen couldn't come, so he's come back with the revised
There we go.
draft, and I
Yes.
put that on Brad. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I will, I've heard a wise senator say this. I'll shut up and just let this go.
Okay, so this is just the latest
Okay. Thank you.
for Senate 323. Bradley Showman, Office of Legislative Counsel for the record here. So I'm just going to just point out some things that I've highlighted that have changed. This bill hasn't been edited with our editors yet, so it's not ready to be voted on. That's not the plan for the committee anyway. I just have that watermark there because it hasn't gone through that process yet. And so this bill might change with some language and things of the sort. So I'm scrolling through to page 2. I edited a finding about growing plants and raising a small backyard poultry plot. So this we're amending section 24 VSA 4413D to restore kind of the pre-Taft Street status quo, but we're also adding the right. We're also giving individuals protecting individuals from municipal bylaw regulation for growing plants and small backyard flocks. So I added a finding there in that section. And then I don't have this highlighted, but I've changed the language. So the Vermont Supreme Court's decision in Taft Street reversed application of the past 20 years of law to hold that municipalities may regulate farming by municipal bylaw and to avoid the unintended consequences of decisions. It's necessary for the assembly to clarify and restate that municipalities under ordinance or bylaw shall not regulate farming pursuant to the statute. And just going to scroll through this here, page 4. And so we are on section 3, page 4, line 19. We clarified that donation, this would be in the wraps. Clarified that donation means charitable contributions of farm crops are allowable under the appropriate United States code, and that are made to an organization that is unrelated to the owner or rolled in the land. So that's donation of farm crops, mirroring language that's later on in some tax provisions. Added that here to make that consistent, and so that would be in the wraps.
This is on your.
Thank you. Oh,
Right, the accessory on farm permit structure is the next thing that changed. So section 3 was just the wraps. We scrolled past that. We are on page 8. And so what I changed based on feedback is provided that so no permit is required, provided that either more than 50% of the total annual sales or more than $250,000 adjusted for inflation in total annual sales of the prepared or processed qualifying products come from products produced on the farm where the business is located. So the committee to kind of sit with that language because it was making sure that that is the intent here. And then we changed some things from like a negative and a positive. And so I just want to make sure that that sits right.
everybody's good with that? Everybody need that reset?
No, or we have the inflation factor.
Okay. And so in this piece, we're not voting on the bill today. This piece, I put the consumer price index as the adjusted for inflation means using the dollar amount of consumer price index for all urban consumers, all items published by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And then so this is kind of standard language that we use to define how you adjust for inflation. And I'm not sure the consumer price index is the best one for farmers. And I did a fair amount of research on this last night, and I determined that I just want to spend some more time with it because I am not sure if these indices, how reliable and how long-term some of the indices that are more related to rock farming are, and I want to delve into that a little bit more. So I have more information for you next time, but I have a place.
I appreciate that.
All right. So for the land use value appraisal here. Let's see. And these are changes that Kirby went over last time he was in, and the changes that Kirby went over are just incorporated into this draft. We added the donated farm crops, and then an owner of agricultural land that is eligible for enrollment due to farm crop donations pursuant to this chapter shall retain receipts and proof of donation. So adding some caveats and explanations to that. This piece is this current use piece is related to the time of application and notifying about changes in use and changing the changing how the process of changing in use might work. So it puts the obligation that the owner will immediately notify the commissioner of any changes in use of any enrolled lands or buildings ineligible for continued use value appraisal. We went over this in an amendment with the hemp amendment a couple of weeks ago. This language is just pasted directly from that, so nothing has changed since the last time you folks saw this language. It's just incorporated here in this current section. The owner's change of use shall be made in the form specified, and if you fail to timely notify the commissioner of any change of use of any enrolled land for the use value appraisal, the owner shall be required to repay those benefits. And the owner might also be required to pay a reasonable interest on the benefit payments. And the failure to promptly
Okay, did we exclude this from? I thought we.
if you want me to take this out, that is perfectly fine. And so this was,
Don't know that we,
so that is not, this current use piece was sent to me separately. After S 323 was voted on.
after what?
After S 323 was voted on.
Right.
And so I put this current use piece I shared with the committee by an amendment a couple of weeks ago when we went over him. And so I'm happy to take this piece back out. But that was not something that we had gone over yesterday. It is something we had gone over previously.
Yeah, this is, I can tell you this ain't gonna fly.
Okay, okay, I'll take it out.
And I know that it's gonna upset some people.
Okay.
But, we've already been told, in the building that.
This was section.
4 and 5.
Oh, this
Section
is
4 and 5 that we had.
Yeah. So section 4 and 5, we'll scroll back up. So section 4 is the accessory on farm permit structure. Section 4 is on page 8. Section 5 is land use value appraisal for donated crops that you worked on with Kirby. And then section
Okay,
6.
so here's what, okay,
And then section 7 is the section that we're just discussing just now, which is further changes to use value appraisal program about if a piece of land changes in use and notification. And so this is the piece that was not in S 323 to begin with. Later, which I can by amendment. I'm happy to take this piece out or any piece out still. Now that we're taking another look at it.
okay, committee.
the paper we had yesterday and what was taking.
I thought that, this section 4 that we're reading was in our section 3, section. Was that in section 4?
So this, it's a little confusing
Okay.
because this piece in particular, if you recall when we went over hemp,
Right.
there were two items the committee asked me to put in that amendment that we were going over with hemp. And so it was mostly the hemp. And at the very end of that amendment had some additional current use pieces that the committee asked me to put in. And then I might be mistaken about this, but I thought I had instruction to to bring all of that language over into.
You're doing fine.
Yeah.
So just, keep telling us what you're telling us.
And so I brought all of that over. So this section 7 here is not something we discussed yesterday. It's something we discussed the last time I was in when we were talking about hemp a couple of weeks or 2 ago.
Good.
And so section 7 and 8, while you're reading, section 7 and 8 have to do with the owner's assertion that the use of land will not change. If it does change, to promptly notify. And then section 8 will address, it adds a presumption that a structure that's ordinarily used for farming, if a structure is built on enrolled land site or a house site adjoining that agricultural land, there's a presumption that it is going to be used as agriculture. And then so it'll get the presumption of being eligible until it's reviewed. So that would be the thrust of section 7 and 8 in this here.
And wasn't this where you were saying what triggers this? How do you know if it happened?
Yeah, I just, I'm a little confused on, where section 4 is. I know we spent a lot of time on that yesterday. Let's go back to section 3. Well, it is what it is. Let's just keep on going. I'll read this a little bit more. I don't want to hold up the committee as far as on this. I'll work through my, stuff that I go.
Okay. Okay, so the next section is section 9 on page 14, and that's the solar siting that the committee can review with
Okay.
Ellen.
There used to be 10, now it's 9, because we
Yeah.
got rid of the farm kitchens, okay.
Scrolling. All right. Section 10 is milk producers. This came straight over from
Yes.
yesterday, no changes.
Yep.
Easy one, the farm to school programs came over from yesterday, no changes. Pest control repeal, same thing.
Yeah.
Section 13, same thing, came over yesterday. Seed law came over from yesterday, no
Yeah.
changes. Label requirements for seed law. We're still in seed law. I'm just scrolling through. Seed law's a big one. Still scrolling through. All right. 32, page 32 at the very bottom is section 20. It's consolidating the Vermont Agricultural Credit Program into VITA. So most of this is the same. We made, I'll walk you through some edits. So I added in the definition of authority to mean VITA, and we'll see why in a moment, but essentially this is moving into a subsection of a subchapter of the VITA program, but it's not incorporating any definitions in this chapter. And I'll show you some language there. I conferred with Jennifer over at VITA, and they want this program to kind of operate it in its own, bubble's the wrong word, but they want it to operate in its own legal world. So to isolate the definitions in this section. So I added authority, all the definitions are the same. We're scrolling through to page 36. No changes here. This just establishes the Vermont Agricultural Credit Program, and it's largely brought over from the existing statute. No changes here. Okay. We're looking at a change on page 37. General powers. So A is as the bill currently was. We added B. The authority shall have the powers necessary to dissolve the Vermont Agricultural Credit Corporation. So VITA has the power to dissolve Vermont Agricultural Credit Corporation in accordance with Title 11B, VSA Chapter 14. So it's a chapter discussing dissolution of nonprofits, and the Vermont Agricultural Credit Corporation is a nonprofit that is being dissolved, which is why they're moving it over from one place in the law to another. And this language would give them the authority to dissolve that. Under the law about dissolving nonprofits, the agency that, or the people responsible for dissolving a nonprofit have to determine what happens with the funds and receipts, make filings with the Secretary of State, and to kind of tie up the affairs. And the second sentence here is if the Vermont Agricultural Credit Corporation has any property that it owns, that title will vest with the in the authority. And so this language just gives them the authorization to do that, just kind of tie up some loose ends. Go. Scrolling again, all right, 39, nothing here has changed. Okay. And so page 40, a couple of things that we changed just to conform. These are just conforming conforming changes for the rest of the statute because we're moving things. And we're section 22 just takes out a reference to a section that is moving and will no longer be there. Section 23, where the editors were coming because subchapter 16 should be underlined. And so this draft will be edited to catch that. Number 24, another conforming change is just changing the Agricultural Credit Corporation to program, changing the chapter 16A to subchapter 16. Some more conforming changes. Section 25 is another conforming change, taking a reference to the this program in B. Jennifer told me that they don't run this program in B and they don't need this authority, so they're taking it out. Section 26 is another conforming change, changing chapter to subchapter. And then now we're moving into permitting large and medium farms. Nothing has changed here. Any questions about the conforming changes with VITA? Okay. Now we're in hemp. Very little has changed from hemp since we last saw it, except two important things. I'll show the committee. One is we are making sure that hemp is an agricultural product. I did not highlight that here. There we go. On page 47, hemp and agricultural product. This I added in a consultation with Mr. Pepper. Hemp, and this is brought over from the existing statute. Hemp is an agricultural product that may be grown as a crop, produced, processed, and marketed and commercially traded in Vermont pursuant to subdivisions of this chapter. And the cultivation of hemp shall be subject to comply with the required agricultural practices. Make sure that farming of hemp follows its rules. This has stayed the same. Rulemaking authority has stayed the same. And testing and enforcement, the thing that changes the administrative penalties. And so the compliance enforcement authorities and procedures applicable to cannabis establishments shall apply to persons licensed or registered under the subchapter. So it incorporates by reference the administrative protections in cannabis. So when we went over this the last time, there was a question, why are the administrative protections not here for hemp? And they didn't want to create two potentially conflicting programs. So they're incorporating the administrative protections that they have for hemp or for cannabis into hemp.
Are we speaking to Pepper on the processing fee, the producer fee and product fee?
Well, I was hoping that they would, want to talk a little bit more about that. So I think you should be back by the time we get back on a week from, in a week's time. So yeah, I really kind of want to talk to them a little bit about that. So the Lieutenant Governor had some concerns about it as well. So yeah, I want to talk to him about that a little bit more.
And I had heard on that piece.
You have not?
I have not.
Okay,
I have
good.
not.
So if you would keep your inquiry look out, I would appreciate that.
And were we looking at that it was maybe revenue size?
So here's where I was with it, Senator. I was like, okay, we have people in the room that were happy about it. Get back with those people, work something out, come back to us. Tell us what they could agree to. Again, trying to stay out of their business. And but that we had farmers that weren't happy, and so that's why we weren't happy. So go work something out, bring it back, tell us everybody's good, and we'll go from there.
Sure. I'll follow up with them. I know Pepper's on. It's out for a little while, but I'll follow up with them. And then no changes. For hemp and no changes. And then this is the last piece. It's the Natural Resources Conservation Council of mortgages. So the what we've been emailing about a moment ago, not a moment ago, a couple days ago. And then so this is the language. The Natural Resources Conservation Council would like to be able to mortgage property. And the statute that they have here is confusing because it gives them the power to borrow money and mortgage. And then another section says that the real estate shall not be mortgaged.
Okay.
And so we're taking out the last section saying the real estate shall not be mortgaged. And also taking out the need to get written approval by the governor.
So on line 14 there, Bradley, I don't know legalese the way you do, but it seems like there'd be a period after chapter and striking provided however.
That's exactly right. And another thing that's we go back and forth on the ending process, and so we would want that there. But you're exactly right.
Thank you.
Hence the watermark.
Not yet edited.
Not yet edited. Not yet edited. Did put this together for you folks as quickly as I could. And I appreciate that.
No, you did very well. Thank you. I figured out where my confusion was a little bit. It was just a numbering of the pages compared to what we had before and what we are right now. Can we go back to section 4 for a minute, Bradley?
Yes.
And any other parts committee that you'd like to go to? Let's go to section 4 ourselves. Wow, this is long. It is. You're gonna have a real long day, Senator.
Well, I'll be joined by the rest of the committee members. I hope.
There you will be.
Sweet.
No,
You can help. Swim in the deep end with us.
Section 6 or
Page assess the.
what page is it?
It is page 8.
Okay, let's go back. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so section 4. Bradley, what are we changing to what is how much are we changing to what is in statute now or law now, with our wording here on this section 4?
Section 4, currently says that, no permit or permit amendment is required, for an accessory on-farm business, provided that more than 50% of the total annual sales of prepared or processed qualifying products come from products produced on the farm. And so what this adds, what this changes is 50% of the total sales, or adds another caveat.
To add the donation product or whatever it might be.
Well, this actually does not add the donation product. Actually, it just does a 50% of the total sales,
Right.
or a raw
But that's
number.
why we have the raw number in
Yeah.
there is for that. Okay. So we're not changing much. What are we changing as far as what's in statute now, as far as, what I'm concerned about other committees in this building?
Mhm.
What are they gonna attack us on this one? Right?
Okay.
What have we changed so much on this one that they're gonna be upset about?
I think adding the $250,000,
Well, we already have the 50% in there already, right? It's already there. The only thing we've done. And so as we go to report this bill, the only thing is that we wanted to capture more people in our marketplace, and this number that we put in there allowed for these businesses
Mhm.
to donate their product up to a quarter of $1 million, and then get recognized for it in a way, whether it be on their taxes or whatever.
this is not just donations, it's sales.
Right.
And
Right.
and so if it's the intention of the committee for this to be donations, I think I need to change that language.
Well,
It's donations and it's.
right, it does, right,
Or sales.
right. I just want to make sure it captures donations. And if we don't have to say it, less is better.
Okay.
I wanna, I just want to make sure it captures donations and that we do with all what we do. And I get that, how much we're bringing in. My big thing is who is going to attack this, as we get ready to vote this out, because I'm gonna send this section 4 off, to a couple committees. And I just want to be prepared for the argument that I'm gonna get back.
And I'm not familiar with who might be interested in this as piece. I can confer
It's
with.
gonna be with natural resources and tax.
Yeah.
Finance.
And so, and I don't know the opinions of those chairs or those committees on this particular piece. I can confer with Ellen and Kirby on that, to kind
Would
of
you-
process those wheelhouses.
Yeah, would you,
And just to kind of see.
would you see where the argument's gonna come from?
Just so we have a response.
Well, I just want to alleviate their fears that we're not in their wheelhouse, we're not into their business where we're at. So yes, Senator. Rob, how you doing?
Hello, Rob.
I was muted and looking up the definition of
You're
accessory on farm business. So
How are
I had
you?
to switch. I'm going with everything except for now section 9.
Right. Section 9, the solar sighting?
That's the solar one. That's
Okay, good. So you're good with everything so far?
I am. Yeah.
Okay, good.
And I don't have any opinion on who else might want to look at it, but I imagine a lot of people would.
Yeah, on 9?
No,
Or-
on other things as
On Section
well.
4 and some other things, okay.
Yeah.
Committee, anything else? Where we have Bradley, yes?
So on this two hundred and
Just
fifty,
tell us who you are.
I'm Michelle Dice for Little Village Enterprises, Paul Ralston. So the 250 is not just about the donations. It's supposed to be 250,000 of the products that are not produced on the farm, so that you're able to acquire other and then sell. So I think it just got lost in one of the drafts, like in terms of language.
So.
I think the intent is there. I just don't know if the language captures that.
Yeah, so that's new to me because I thought, and that's good. So I thought that 250,000 of sales of products that came from the farm had to be produced on the farm to get the exemption. What you're saying is the flip side of that, is that right?
Not necessarily the flip side of that, but to incorporate anything that is bought additionally.
Crops,
Okay,
I think is important so that it's not buying other things. It can be misconstrued.
and so we want no more than $250,000 worth of things that are bought that are not produced on the farm.
Yes,
Yes, that's right.
yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I
But
got.
you,
I meant
no, no,
things
I think we had it in there at one
I think
point.
it was in there, and I think
Yeah.
it's just between the
Right.
different traffic.
That's, thank you, because that's where I was really struggling.
That's okay, I was too.
That was where I was.
Okay.
So $250,000 adjusted for inflation from total annual sales of products not produced on the farm.
Right.
So I'll just change. I'll adjust that accordingly.
Yeah, okay.
That's good.
Thank you, Emma.
It just can't say like. The principally produced is like the kind of the. That has been as I think the Senator Collins will remember, a very touchy subject when it comes to principally produced.
Okay. Comes from products produced on the farm where the business is located. Is that it?
I believe so.
Because that language is in the statute as it is, and I think we could change it.
Does it say principally produce or just
It
produce?
says produced.
Okay. As long,
It doesn't say.
Okay, so let's, and that's the key thing here. I want to change as less as what we can to get to what we want to get to. So if it's something that before our times in here that has been consternation in this building, I don't want to create that.
no,
I want to keep it as narrow as we can so that we can say this is all we're doing.
Okay.
You had agreed to it before.
Yeah.
And this is where we're at now. And if it's gonna do the same thing, I just don't want to wordsmith this. I don't want to wordsmith us into a problem.
neither do I.
So everybody's good?
Okay, yeah. I see that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Good, okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We'll be chatting tomorrow. Getting close. Getting close. Everybody good to move on to, S60?
Yep.
Thank you.
Bradley.
Thanks,
Hope
Bradley.
your road feels better.
Thank you.
Linda, do we have a copy of S60 anywhere that we
It's
could,
on.
it's on there? Okay, there we go. Yeah, it is. Okay. All I have to do is click.
Yeah.
Rob, you want to help us with this?
Oh, gosh, I wasn't prepared to. What do we need help with?
No, let's just go down through and let's just all go down through the bill. And I think we're very, very clear about where we want to be. The only thing that we added was forestry.
Yeah.
I just want to look for any mistakes that we want to be there. I just need an attorney's eye on it. That's all.
Yeah,
So-
we looked at it before. I forget what date we had looked at it, and we had a decent side by side. January
Yeah, I'm good with
30th.
all that. I just want you looking at it, Rob, just to make sure that nothing's jumping out at you.
No, everything was good.
Shall we
As
just
I
go
recall.
through the forestry part of it on page 7, starting on line 6, and just make sure that we're good with what we see there. I'll read it if you guys don't mind. Okay.
I'll go.
Okay, line 6, Fireman Forestry Operations, a Security Special Fund, a Review Board. 8, creation, there is created the Fireman Forestry Operational Security Special Fund Review Board, which for administrative purposes shall be at the Agency of Agriculture, Food and Markets. Organizations on board. The board shall be comprised of the Secretary of Ag, Food and Markets or designee, who shall serve as chair, the Commissioner of Forest Parks and Recreation designee, the State Chief Recovery Officer as designee, representatives of 3 agricultural organizations who can demonstrate expertise in dealing with all sizes and types of farms in Vermont, whether through granting funds, offering technical assistance or advocacy, and who have a proven track record of working with farmers appointed by the Secretary of Ag, Food and Markets. Page 8, line 1, 2 farmers who have received relief funding appointed by the Secretary of Agriculture, Food and Markets. 2 forestry operators appointed by the Commissioner of Forest, Parks and Recreation. Member terms conflicts. The members designated in subdivision B4 of this section shall be appointed to an initial terms of 2 years. Therefore, each appointed member shall serve a term of 3 years or until the member's early resignation or removal. The member's designation in subdivision B5 of this section shall be appointed to initial terms of 1 year. The members designated in subdivision B6 of this section shall be appointed to initial terms of 2 years. Therefore, each appointed member shall serve a term of 3 years. I think that's all clear. Let's go to 16. The board member has a conflict of interest as the term is defined by 3 VSA section 1201 regarding review of application for a permit under this section. The Secretary of Agriculture, Food and Markets may appoint an alternate member to maintain a forum of the board to review an application and recommend whether payment should be rewarded. Powers on page 9, the review board shall review applications for assistance under this section, assess the accuracy and validity of the applications, and recommend to the secretary applicants who should receive assistance under this section. The board annually shall report to the House Committee on Agriculture, Food, Resiliency, and Forestry and the Senate Committee on Agriculture the total documented Vermont farm and forest operation financial loss from eligible weather conditions averaged over the previous 3 calendar years. In order to ensure the fund is meeting the needs of Vermont's agriculture community and forest operations community, the review board shall review the application process, eligibility, criteria, distribution, and accessibility of the fund. The review board shall annually recommend to the House Committee of Agriculture, Food, Resiliency, and Forestry, and the Senate Committee on Agriculture ways to improve the effectiveness of the fund. Officers, committees, the board may elect officers, establish 1 or more committees or subcommittees, or adopt such procedural rules that it shall determine necessary and appropriate to perform its work, quorum, meetings, voting, blah, blah, all of that. Compensation, lines 4 on page 10. Private sector members shall be entitled to per diem compensations authorized under 32 VSA for each day spent in the performance of their duty, and each member shall be reimbursed from the fund for the member's actual and necessary expense incurred in carrying out the member's duties. Contractual funding, the duty to implement section 2 of this Act, Farm and Forest Operations Security Special Fund, and contingent upon appropriations of funds in fiscal year 2027 or subsequent fiscal year from the general fund to the Agency of Agriculture, Food and Markets for the specific purpose described in section 2 of this Act. The effective date shall take effect on July 1st, 2026. Really just the same bill, and we just added forestry in there. Is that how you see it, Rob?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that likely to want to be looked at by the natural resources?
I think that they're well, we can pass it, make it into a session of it.
Probably drive by it.
I think from what everybody's told me, yes, a drive by. Everybody's told me that they're fine with it.
Just
I want those questions asked, always fair. So, I would be inclined to vote it out, and if they want to look at it after that, then they can do that.
Yeah.
They can do that.
Yeah.
Before it goes to the floor. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it passed last year. Just
Right.
have money.
Yeah.
It's original.
Yeah. Yes, this is true.
Then someone found scissors.
Yeah.
Are we ready for a vote?
Were we gonna recommend an appropriation or put it in the bill?
I'm gonna recommend appropriation on our sheet when we do that.
All right.
I think that, yeah, I'm gonna recommend $1 million.
Yeah.
And see where it goes.
All right, you're ready?
Mhm.
This is on S60, the house.
Somebody make a motion to take a vote on it.
Yeah, I would move that we vote out
S60.
S60. I didn't know if it had a draft, favorably.
I second.
The House
Hold on.
proposal of amendment is sufficient.
House proposal amendment. That's
Yeah, and House proposal. Yeah.
It is a strike off from,
So it's a recommendation made and seconded. And so Secretary, would you call the roll, please?
Senator Pallamore.
yes.
Senator Heffernan, yes. Senator Majors.
Yes.
Senator Plunkett.
Yes.
Senator Ingalls.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
Who will be recording?
I can, oh, you wanna, you're fine with that? Okay. I'm not opposed to it here, but if you wanted, that's fine.
He's got such a good voice.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll share the big one, so.
Yeah, no, we're gonna share the big one. I absolutely positively picking on you on part of that. In fact, to be honest with you, we're gonna be doing most of it, but there's gonna be a couple, maybe a section that I'm just gonna need you on. Just because your knowledge, your history, especially of the titles that you are able to easily go back and forth and explain it where we're gonna go humming. So, yeah, yes, so. So we're good up to that? Everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
well, so as we know, we still have some more stuff to do here on our bill. We're looking really good. There's 3 more changes going on. I really do want that, cannabis control board to talk to those farmers. Sounds like they're gonna do that. I don't really see very many issues going on with what we have. I think we have a very good bill. We'll be looking pretty quickly to get this thing out, certainly by Wednesday or Thursday of the week that we get back. If you know, definitely by Wednesday. I really don't want to wait till Friday. If anybody's got any questions or issues or hear anything or anybody comes up to them, let us know. Let us know where we're at. But I really don't see that we're getting into anybody's problem other than, the new section, which is the old section 10, which we still have a lot of work to do. And I do, fully expect that that's probably gonna hang on a wall someplace. It might not make our bill, but at the end of the day, I think, here's where I'm at with it. And I've said to, the people that have come in and have had real concerns about where we're going with it. It's real simple. Stay off our farm fields. Stay off our farm fields. We won't even have to get in anybody's business. Just make an effort to stay off our prime ag land fields. So, but that will be with what we argue with when it comes back, when we come back. Anything else that anybody like to add?
Nope.
Hope everybody has
Good.
off. You certainly have worked really hard in this committee. I'm very appreciative of it. We've worked collaboratively. We've worked respectfully, and if not to put us ahead of any other committees in this building, but you should all be very proud about how you've honored one another and honored the witnesses that have come in here, honored the people of Vermont, and you guys have done a really